Okay.
Like the hat I designed. Pretty sexy, I must say.
You're live. We're live.
We're live. All right. Hello there, and welcome to the Rogue Podcast, a Star Wars show. Today we have myself, Jake Vossen, John McKeever, CJ Jones, and David Hilarious. We're really excited to bring this episode of the Rogue Podcast to you guys. John, we can hear all that.
I know. We're just testing it. We're good.
All right. We're really excited about this episode. Part 3 of Kenobi released this morning at 2 a.m. Central. I guess you could say that's 3 a.m. Eastern as well as midnight Pacific time.
Thanks, Jake.
You're welcome. I got up this morning at 6 to watch it before I went into school. And
Crazy man. I was up at the same time, but I didn't actually get out of bed. I couldn't. I tried so hard, but I couldn't do it.
I had to because I knew that I would watch it at school on my lunch break during on my phone. I was like, I don't want to watch this on my phone. I gotta just have the discipline and get up watching my TV. So I get up to watch it on my TV, and you know what happens?
You scream.
Internet's out.
My internet's out. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I had to watch it on my phone. I realized later I probably could have hotspotted it and watched it on like my PC, like I'm doing right now. So I watched it on my phone, all cloudy with a bowl of chocolate life. And I don't know about you guys. I really, really enjoyed this episode. I know that there's some mixed reactions again, as it seems there always is with Star Wars. But I loved it. I thought it was great. It was fantastic. Seeing Kenobi v. Vader, having Vader come back, I thought it was great. I mean, there were some minor things where it was a little like interesting, but like even those things, I don't think I have a flaw that I'm just like, yeah, this bothered me. I mean, minor things like little plot things where it's like really the stormtroopers didn't recognize them, like, but stuff like that I can get past that. So we'll dive into the episode, that and much more as we go on. Let's start off with our out of 10 rankings. Although I like out of 100 more. You know, you get a little more specific when you get out of 100.
You can do 0.5.
So
same
I
difference.
gave an 87.5 to the 2 episodes last week. I'm going to go with like a 93 this week. I thought this was pretty freaking great. Better than what I saw last week, in my opinion. Yeah. I know that's not necessarily the common opinion.
93 means near perfect.
I thought that
93 is like,
yeah, this was near perfect.
Season 2 Mando finale.
Yeah, I like this more than that. Yeah, I would say that was probably like 100. But even that I had some issues with. But this, I thought it was flawless almost. I mean, there were some things where I was like, okay, budgetary constraints, you can kind of see some issues. A few little writing things that I wasn't a big fan of, but through and through, watching it one time on my phone, I was blown away. I loved it. David?
I would probably go the same, maybe as low as 91, but as high as 95.
Yeah,
what Star Wars is.
Oh, John, you're up. David said 91 to 95 range.
Oh man. I'm gonna have to go with like high 70, low 80.
Okay.
Honestly, my first reaction, the highest I could make myself give it is a 40.
Oh no!
What?
I thought it was real bad.
We haven't talked about this at all, listeners.
Wow.
We haven't talked about it. John and I both saw it this morning. We were talking during the workday, and I know some issues John has with the show.
I'm really curious to hear what CJ has, because that's
as we talked though, John, I was like, I can kind of see where you're coming from, but you never seemed like you didn't.
Oh, that hot spot, Jake, that hot spot is not doing too hot for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it a little bit better now?
It's just like in and out laggy.
Okay. I'll try to let me know when that happens and I'll back off. Okay. But I feel like as we the questions we had kind of theorize why those things were done. But CJ, what
go for it. Yeah, take it away, CJ.
Yeah, CJ, what was wrong with it?
Let's go right for
honestly,
the throat.
I think there were just a ton of things that did not make any sense to me. There were a lot of parts in the story. So one of the bigger things, to be honest, towards the end was Reva catches Leia again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't understand how one, it seemed super convenient how she found that tunnel. She just like walked in a straight line to it when there was nobody there. Like she just noticed everything from behind everything. And then not only does she do that, but she's able to find the other side of the tunnel, kill everybody there before Leia, who is halfway through, can get to the end. I don't understand how she knows where the end of that tunnel even is, that it's in another house, and that like how she can figure out where the hidden tunnel is in a totally separate house when it's not even a straight tunnel. Like it's curving. Like, I don't know. Like, I have no idea how she's able to do that. It seems way too convenient.
So to explain a little bit, a pinch, because I just watched it 20 minutes ago. The only reason that hut would have stood out to her is because the mover droid just had walked out of it. So I'll give her a pass on that. Then when she finally gets into the house, she, uses the Force, sort of
perception. She rolled a perception check.
So
That's the problem.
So
She
I'll
didn't
pass on
actually
that
use
one.
The Force to do that.
She didn't.
They
She didn't
would've
use the Force to find it. She just used the Force to move the shelf. Then when she was in the room, she saw the Jedi symbol. Out of frustration,
which kind of hints at something.
Out of frustration, she bangs the stuff off the table, and then kind of as her hand is over there, she sees that red button, and it's like, and then push. So it's like a series of fortunate events is basically what that comes down to. But even then, and I was going to bring this up, but I thought you guys were going to kind of go against me of like, well, it can make sense. We can explain it. But
I don't.
She would have had to, and I'm with you from here on forward. It does not make sense because Tala has to go all the way back through the tunnel.
Yes.
So here's my point with that.
But
no
then,
one ever said this is a one straight line tunnel. There could be many branches.
So how is Leia?
Leia could have been lost for who knows how long.
But no.
How do they end up at the same point?
Tala says go straight on to the port, and you'll reach the port. But this is what I don't like about the show is we have to explain and make sense of so many things in the show, which shouldn't be.
It bothers me that we get hung up on something small like this. Okay, so let's make up something. The tunnel is a winding, slow path. Reva assumes, I bet this goes to somewhere they can get away. What makes sense? The port, runs out. She doesn't run through the tunnels, and she just realizes, I'm going to get my ass to the... Cut that out. Mom, don't listen. I'm going to get my butt to the port real quick and get there. I mean, to me, it just is like, where else would this go besides
a second... But then you have to find a secret secret tunnel.
But we also, if she finds that guy waiting for him or something, she could have interrogated him. To me, it's like, yes, there's 1,000 ways. Well, it could be just this one dude.
How many guys is she gonna have to go to? So here's what's gonna have to happen. Reva would have to go outside of the tunnel, go all the way around, figure out where the end of it is, and get. I feel like that's the most logical way.
Yes.
But even so, how does she know where the other side of that tunnel? She's never been to this planet before.
It could be an old smuggler tunnel. She could use a speeder bike.
Leia's 75% of the way through that tunnel.
When did they say that?
No, but they've been going for a while.
Yeah, but it could be far away. I mean, think about when you don't say how long something takes, it could take a long time. You know what I mean?
But
it's not necessarily in show time. Like that was a 3-minute gap. It's not possible. It's possible that took her another 20 minutes, and Reva was able to go and say, okay, tunnel system in this city. Oh, there's an old smuggler tunnel that led out to the port. I'm gonna go to the port, right? Stuff like that can happen. I don't know that that's something that we get hung up on when we're talking about this show. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I get the whole, but
that's not her planet though. She wouldn't have known that.
But the Empire.
I understand
knows,
what.
Yeah.
They didn't know it was there though, or they would have checked.
Yeah.
They just got there. I don't know.
So I imagine CJ, I imagine this was probably the smaller plot hole issue you had with the episode, or was this one of the main ones?
This was like a medium one.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't have the same question when I watched it, because I did. But just I'm not getting hung up on it. I'm like, okay, somehow she was able to get there faster than the 10-year-old girl. I can buy that.
Somehow she returned.
Yeah. I can buy that a Sith with pretty much superpowers and the ability to divine into what happens, which is somewhat how the Force works. Also with transportation that can move you insanely fast, that somehow she could beat her there. Yes, I understand that seems like a leap, but it's not so much to hang me up on the show. Yeah, it's probably not the best writing, but I can get there. You know what I mean?
So
Okay.
my only problem is this isn't the first time that I've seen something like this, which is unfortunate because of how long the show has been in the works. I feel like these kinks should have been ironed out.
I agree with you there. I'm not going to pretend that they shouldn't have figured out. Let's give some kind of explanation on how this girl gets caught.
All right, next.
To me, it would have made more sense if she got her a little bit earlier.
Jake.
And just started chasing behind her.
Oh my goodness.
Did you catch that?
No.
Sorry. I'll try it one more time. It would have made more sense to me if Reva had just gotten there a bit earlier and just sprinted behind and eventually caught up, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or you
She can outrun her from behind, but
yeah,
this like thinking through and figuring things out and then doing it, like I think makes no sense. But so that was a medium one. Another medium one that it didn't break the show for me, but I thought was incredibly dumb writing was when Obi-Wan has that entire conversation in the back of the truck with Leia about how he used to be a Jedi after he had just screwed up telling, like he had just said her name and almost blown their cover. And they had found out that guy is an Empire supporter, but I'm going to talk like in a normal tone and have a candid conversation with you about how I used to be a Jedi when we're trying to hide.
I thought that was weird too. I guess you just have to imagine that he thought the engine roar was loud enough for him not to hear.
Yeah, I can definitely see that one. It doesn't. That one bothers me less, but still is like
no.
It's to me that's on the same level of it's like Obi-Wan is so concerned, but he doesn't have he never wears his hood when he's running through Dayu.
Yeah, but also wearing a hood can sometimes make people look at you too, like.
But
you
then,
know what I mean? Like everyone looks at the person not trying to be seen.
I know, but then he like talks to the guy in a like marginally louder voice to get his attention like 2 seconds later.
No, I'm not going to pretend I thought that was weird too. I did too, but it just, again, didn't break the show.
All right. And then they get caught and he waits until the droid finishes identifying him to shoot it in the eye.
I thought that too. I haven't thought about all these.
like why? If you're going to fight before you can get identified. And a minor thing that I thought it was dumb, and it kind of happens later too, is he like shoots the gate and then just runs through it when they're trying to hide or whatever, or like get somewhere fast instead of taking the truck.
This truck, yeah.
If you're gonna run and not do anything, why not just walk around the gate? It was not a fence. There was like on either side where you could have walked past it.
Oh, dude, I didn't think of that.
When
I totally forgot about that too.
When they showed what the gate
I just said, why didn't he get in the truck?
Go, David.
Yeah,
well, Dave, go ahead.
They showed what the gate looked like, and then they zoomed out, and you're like, oh, that's it. Why is this here?
It's just a checkpoint. No, you can't like fit an armored convoy, but if nobody's there because they're all dead, you can definitely walk around it.
Yeah. Like when he destroyed it, I definitely expected him to get into the vehicle. It's like something you'd expect out of Monty Python.
Oh man. And even like we had someone in the chat, I imagine you guys had this problem as well with when he's talking to the trooper. Jake, you and I messaged about it. You think they would send a picture along with a notice of a Jedi? Like,
yeah, I mean, they even said we have a Jedi in the area that we're looking for, but they say like he's traveling with a small girl, or you know, this is what he looks like. We have a picture of him because we know that a hologram of him. They in the last episode, and they said like, here, forward this out to all the emails of all the stormtroopers. You know,
I mean, with that. The only thing I could think of was they're just relying too much on the probe droids. They still should have a picture, but even if he looked kind of similar, they would want to use the droid to confirm it.
Yeah, and the probe droid's true. Go ahead.
Like, the girl should have been a giveaway. Like that should have been known.
Yeah, I mean, the only defense to that is that we didn't know that whether or not they knew the Jedi was with a girl, but
I don't
regardless,
think
I feel like
anybody
that's
did besides Reva and probably Vader, right? She probably would keep it secret from everyone.
maybe because I guess I could defend it on that way because
Because-
they wouldn't want everyone to
Yeah.
know that a senator's daughter is in that situation that they put them in because they're still trying to save face
Well,
in
That's-
front of.
Well,
That's
here's
fair.
the
even
thing.
I
so,
could get
that's-
around that one.
Yeah, even so, I feel like that's a little.
I mean, what I've been telling my roommate this entire time is that Reva is the only one with all the pieces to the puzzle, and she's gonna put it together, and then she's gonna die.
Yeah, John
that's a
and I
fair
have some
guess.
theories. We'll get into theories at the end of the episode because I've got some.
Okay.
But
I
another
still
thing
have
about the
one
probe
more.
droids.
Oh, go
Let's
ahead.
touch on the probe droids one more
Yeah.
second. So they said there's a few planets that this could go to, right? Oh, sorry, am I cutting out again?
No, you're just
No.
you're in a
Bandwidth is low.
you're
Huh?
you're in a galaxy far, far away. I think
Oh,
in 1994,
what are you talking about?
It
'Cause
keeps
you-
saying your bandwidth is low.
and you're at like
Oh.
480p or something like that.
Sorry.
Maybe 240.
The probe droids they send out to these 3 planets they mentioned. Maybe they sent out more, but the scene that they showed is they sent out 3 probe droids to cover 3 planets. You know the
Okay.
likelihoods of you finding something, 1 probe droid per planet? Like that doesn't seem
Pretty
like a
low.
very efficient method to find somebody. Like I think there was like 40 landed on Hoth, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, maybe they
It
sent
was
out
at least
more
a
and they just
dozen.
sent them
It
out
was
like
at least
3
a dozen.
Yeah. So maybe there were more, but we just only saw 3 get shot out in that scene. But it seemed like they said 3 planets, and then they sent out 3 probe droids. I was just like, what?
Empire's on a budget these days. Just got
Again,
started.
Minor thing for me because I still felt the overall story and the overall action and the emotion was good. But I definitely see these gripes you have, CJ. Continue. With your-
Wait. I think this may be surprising coming from me, considering last week and me. But let's take a break from the gripes and let's talk about some good things real quick, and
All
then we'll get back to
CJ
that
said he
stuff.
only had 1 left. Go for it. John.
Did you
It's-
really
it's-
only have one, CJ? Does that have to do
I
with
have-
the end with Vader?
20 per.
Yeah, I have. That's my big one. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the really big one. If y'all want to talk about other stuff before then,
Yeah,
we'll
let's
talk,
talk
we'll
about
talk
other
about
stuff.
that one because I have some.
Let's do that at the end because
Yeah.
that's the end of the episode, so we can hit some. So I was, as I rewatched it, I took down some notes, and the Obi-Wan theme that they play with the title card is giving me some mad Fallen Order vibes, which I really like. Kind of just that solemn music that is really calming.
Fits the mood.
Yeah, I really like that theme, and it fits really nice to the open card. Did you guys catch when Leia was talking to Kenobi in the cargo ship? She said, "Can't you make this go any faster?"
Yep.
Reference to Empire Strikes Back when Leia's talking
Oh,
to
she
Han.
says that to Han.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't catch
Yeah.
that. Yeah. That's a good little Easter egg.
Obviously the Anakin hallucination was they're finally giving me more of what I
Yes.
want, even though I
don't know
want
what
more.
you mean finally. They gave you a bunch last time.
No, but like this is new. This is new, and it's
Oh,
not like
yeah.
a rehash of Revenge of the Sith. It's something new that we're
What?
getting, and
Wait, what was new?
that
The
he
Anakin
saw
vision.
Anakin, the hallucination on the
Yeah.
horizon.
Oh, yeah.
In the
yeah,
Jedi
yeah.
robe.
Yes.
Like,
Just
I-
like
Is
Yeah,
that who it
okay.
was? It was
was
Anakin.
in
Yeah.
episode
Okay,
3.
I was trying to look. I was on my phone. I was like, what? Who is that? I
Should've
thought
watched
it
on
might
your
have been.
TV.
I thought it might have been him, but I tried to go back and replay it, but I had poor signal in my basement, so it kept stuttering. I was like, whatever. I'm sure I'll figure it out later.
yeah. So that
Okay,
was
that's-
that was
Like,
Anakin,
that's cool. That's
and
cool.
it was low key like Anakin on Mustafar.
Yep,
He
that's
didn't
what-
quite have the red eyes, which would have been cool if those were very visual.
Was he burnt up?
No.
No, it was before the fight, my
Interesting.
guy.
Man, I
Yeah.
really think it's the face. It was very small on my phone. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's
Sure.
cool to know. That's cool.
Yeah, that was
Mhm.
huge. When we were talking about the whole, I'm gonna go backwards just a little bit. The whole, how do these stormtroopers not know who he is? When we were watching this with our watch party, I was like, I sure hope they don't have his face on this bulletin board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Nope.
Doesn't make sense.
The some
What
more
else you
little
guys got?
Easter eggs and notes that I've got written down. The probe assembly sounds were from the Geonosian droid factory. guys
Oh
may have
yeah,
caught
it
that.
sure was.
And as far as
That
other
was a cool little
sounds,
scene.
when Obi-Wan was getting burnt up they were very, very reminiscent, if not directly taken from Anakin burning on Mustafar, him yelling.
Yep. Man, that scene.
It was very either he was mimicking as best he could, if not just like the straight up same soundbite, which was pretty intense. I do love little Leia's acting when she was like, absolutely, we love the Empire.
Yeah.
Just funny how forced it was and how just like, nope, nothing to see here.
Droids.
All right. So we kind of hit on some of our gripes about plot holes, and I think they definitely were legitimate. Let's start talking about the plot actually a little bit, and what this means for the story. So off the get-go, we see Anakin or Obi-Wan still trying to meditate, talk with Qui-Gon, and just try to figure out what's going on in his head. And I mean, I feel like what does Yoda say to Anakin, Luke, everyone? Just to clear your mind, right?
And his mind is anything but.
Obi-Wan is not able to do that right now. Just he cannot. And I feel like that's the block to him being able to reach Qui-Gon. I'm really looking forward to when he gets that peace of mind. Because I think next episode we get Qui-Gon, honestly, because Obi-Wan is at his lowest. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a couple more.
There's only 6 total.
I think it's gonna be like five or six, like an end of the series kind of.
Yeah.
So maybe
like
next episode is him recovering, kind of. 5 is him in his Rocky montage training, and 6 he gets.
Well, dude,
I think
if
5 is. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say if they're going to what was the name of that planet? Bedum or something?
Jabim.
Beam. It's like
Jabim
or something like that.
If they're going there, we're probably getting Quinlan Vos.
Yep. I think we will. They don't mention him for no reason.
Yeah, like that's.
Is that something attached to Quinlan Voss's history?
Well, no, she said that Quinlan Vos.
Yeah.
Quinlan Vos. Takes him too.
Yeah, I got some theories about that too. We'll get to theories. We'll save theories for the end. Okay.
Yeah.
So that I thought that whole exchange was really cool. I felt like every time Ewan is on screen, it's just awesome, and that's kind of cheap because you can have that without good story writing, but if you're going and looking at it as an experience rather than like a critical analyzation of the writers, then I just think it's just so fun to watch him be back. It's just great. But that was really well done. And they get to this planet and try to find this location where they're supposed to be meeting up with what's his face? Some dude.
Yeah, we don't know.
I was interested to see. It's just Kenobi is just so not himself, right? I mean, we never would have seen Kenobi act this way previously, but he is so untrusting of anybody. He doesn't think anyone could possibly try to help him after the betrayal of the clones, right?
I mean, it makes sense. I don't blame him.
Oh no, absolutely, it makes perfect sense. Like I think that's really good writing. Like I wouldn't. There's some. We mentioned it last week. He's so much further gone than we expected, and I think that's great. Because even Leia's like, hey, let's just wait a minute. People are trying to help us. Why would they send us here to die when we could have died there? And he's just like, you can't trust anybody. People aren't out there trying to help you. And because of it, this all happened because of that. Because if he had waited, the Imperial defector would have shown up eventually. She said, I was coming. By the time I got there, you weren't there anymore. And his impatience and his inability to trust the Force, honestly. I mean, the Force had guided them to this point, and Kenobi's not seeing that, and he's not trusting the Force, and instead tries to force things on his own.
Well, it kind of makes me wonder if he feels like the Force betrayed him.
Yeah, honestly, like he can't trust the Force anymore, because the Force is the one that guided them to Anakin, and he's devoted his life to the Force so much, and then this is what happens. That's a good point, dude.
And in a way, he's relying on Qui-Gon more than he's relying on the Force. So I'm sure that'll come into play even when he reads the knowledge dropped by Quinlan in the hidden room.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And did you notice when he was meditating, his eyes were open in the beginning?
Yeah.
In the beginning of it,
now that you mention
his
it,
eyes are open as he's trying to meditate and talk to Qui-Gon, and all these thoughts are flying through his head. And the quote that Quinlan Vos left on the wall, for those that can't remember, is "Only when your eyes are closed can you truly see." So I wonder,
can you truly see the way?
Is that what it was? Truly see the way.
He paused.
So
and
maybe
then
he just realizes He needs to clear his mind, calm down, wipe out all the pain, anger, hate that he has, fear, and then just move past it. So I'm excited to see where that leads. Because Quinlan Voss is one of his best friends.
Yep.
We know from the Clone Wars. So I'm really excited. I hope that we get to
Were
see
they
him.
best friends in Clone? I
Dark
feel like the
Disciple.
one
Dark
episode they
Disciple.
had, he was like very leery of Quinlan's
No,
methods.
they were really good friends, but they definitely had difference of opinions.
I mean, it's like
Okay.
Anakin and
Mm.
Obi-Wan basically is the same exact thing, except that this dude's his peer.
He was awesome in Clone Wars. Oh man,
Yeah, he
Dark
was. I
Disciple,
still watch those
man.
episodes again.
Listen to that book. It's a good one.
We touched on what happens next, which is like the whole transport and everything with the clones,
yeah.
whatnot. That was Seth Rogen, by the way, that was playing that
No,
guy.
no, it wasn't. I looked it
wasn't?
up and I thought it was, and then I was watching the new Rockstars video. It sounded like this dude who I have his name written down. It's Zach Braff. You guys can
okay.
Google him.
Yeah, he's
Kristen,
plays Scrubs.
Kristen Bell's husband.
Mhm.
It sounded like he was trying to do a Seth Rogen impression. Is what it sounded like.
Yeah, that's right. I knew I recognized the voice. I couldn't pin it though.
But yeah, no, it was Theory and Josh thought it was. Josh thought it was Seth Rogen.
Is it odd to you guys that he didn't use his light? I guess if he uses a blaster, they could still technically think maybe it wasn't a Jedi, but I feel like
Yeah.
could have much more easily killed those stormtroopers with the lightsaber. But maybe he's just not wanting to
leave
just not wanting
leave
to show it.
lightsaber marks. Yeah, but I mean, I thought of that. He could have chopped at least one guy up and then threw him over the lasers to make it look like the lasers chopped him up.
Maybe.
But that would have been obviously
we did
not.
see a guy get cut in half by a laser. That was I was like, dang, Disney didn't used to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And that guy just got shredded.
Why did Boba Fett do this?
Yeah, for real. Why didn't Boba Fett do this? What the heck? Like, that's the whole reason I thought Boba Fett wasn't like fighting like a Boba Fett would fight. Is I thought they were just trying to keep it to Disney, but then we get Obi-Wan cutting people in half like it's nobody's business.
So one of my gripes, another gripe that we haven't talked about yet, is how is Kenobi so proficient with a weapon so uncivilized?
Well, he must have. Maybe that's what he's trained with, you know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the only we can explain that one away of like he had to defend himself on.
Well, he was
Tatooine
actually
with...
really good with it in the Clone Wars episodes as Reiko Hardini.
Killed Grievous with it.
Yeah,
true.
So he must.
But you can't deny that he was channeling the Force when he was using it during those times.
Oh, 100%. He still could have been channeling the Force through this time too.
But it's very clear. It's very, very clear. His connection to the Force is very dampened. Even in his fight with Vader,
it can still heighten his abilities, though.
But his Force,
that's just like second nature.
We'll talk about later. His Force bubble, he didn't have a Force bubble. That's why Vader was able to push him.
That's also
like
not
that.
a canon thing. It's not in cinema canon. That's in Legends. That's in Legends. I know that they say the Jedi and the Force users can throw up Force shields. That's nothing George Lucas has ever done. That's nothing that even Clone Wars has ever done. That's nothing that any movies have done. So we just have to remember that. The creators probably have never heard of a Force bubble shield in their life.
So regardless, him catching Leia last episode was no easy task. If he was as attuned and natural to the Force as you're claiming, he would have been able to catch her no problem. So I would say,
yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that part. Okay. I just mean that like as a Jedi who's been a Jedi for 40 something years, it's not like he's shut himself off like Luke did. He just hasn't used it. That doesn't mean he still doesn't have heightened reflexes.
I kind of agree with John that he shut himself off. However, you don't have to have the Force to be a good shot.
Yeah.
Correct.
He's been training in combat his entire life up until 10 years. So.
Yeah.
My only point being, if you haven't done something for 10 years and you try to do it, you're not going to be that good at it, no matter what it is, unless it's riding up.
And they are stormtroopers. Let's be fair. These people, they literally don't care enough to read the emails that say Obi-Wan is here, and they're just there watching people mine all day doing nothing.
Is
These
there
guys
a
have
picture?
to shoot, you know. So.
What's next?
The episode really starts when they get into the town.
Well, wait, before that, Kenobi has a brother.
Oh yeah,
and
that was a bomb. bomb, dude.
And
that was a bomb.
Kenobi has the hots for Padme.
Yeah.
He said, "I wish I could say I was your father." Wink,
Yeah.
wink.
I don't know about
That's
that.
what he meant.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we've always known it. That's why he actually killed Anakin. He did turn her
I
against him.
cannot blame
I'm
him.
the jealous one.
But that whole conversation with Leia was really interesting, actually. We kind of breezed past it, but really good dialogue. Talking about how he had a brother and he remembers his family. You never think about these Jedi before they're Jedi, you know? This kid
especially these foundational pillars Jedi.
Yeah. He was a kid who was taken from his family to be a Jedi and never saw his little brother, his mom, or his dad again, you know?
From the planet of Stu John, for those who don't know.
Is that what it is? Stu John?
Yeah. David, you know what I'm talking about, Stu John. It was in an interview.
Some family member of, right?
No. It was in an interview that George Lucas had with a certain host named Jon Stewart.
Oh.
And he asked
where Obi-Wan's from.
He asked George Lucas where Obi-Wan was from, and George is like, I don't know. He Stu John. He's from Stu John.
I thought isn't he from Corellia?
That became canon. Nope.
No.
Huh.
It's just
funny.
It's just that's my point about a lot of this stuff. We analyze so many things, and like George Lucas didn't know, you know what I mean about a lot of this stuff. And
but that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
I know. Yeah. What were some other questions? There's something else people ask George Lucas, and he would just like say, I don't know. I didn't think it out that far.
Species.
Oh yeah, Yoda species. He's like, he doesn't have a race. You know, he just never thought about it.
He did that on purpose, though. He definitely did
Eventually,
that on purpose.
I think he did. Eventually, but not at first.
No,
I think by the time prequels came around, yes, but like for 4, 5, and 6, that just wasn't. They never really talked about races of aliens except for Wookiees. 3, 4, 5, and 6.
I think around the 90s they started to.
Yeah, well, that was well after 4, 5, and 6 were over. So I think like by the time he came to the prequels, he made a conscious decision to not like reveal his race and make him the only one. But up until that point, I just think that was just random chance, you know. Anyways, I don't know why we're talking about that.
Star Wars.
Yeah, the War on the Stars.
Things we like.
So then we get into her also. Oh, I'm trying to think.
I'll interrupt one more time. Did we already talk about how Kenobi described the Force? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, we did not. That's actually really cool too. So I thought that was interesting as well. When Leia says, "What does the Force feel like?" His explanation, it was great. He says, "You ever been afraid of the dark?" She says, "Yeah." He says, "Then what does it feel like when you turn the lights on?" She says, "I feel safe." He says, "It's like that." That's a really cool way to interpret it, because I think that's something every single person in the audience connects with, you know. So I feel like that's pretty awesome. And it really kind of is interesting knowing that Leia's a Force user eventually, and that she'll feel that someday.
I think she knows she is.
You think so?
Yeah. I forget what line of dialogue it was, but when
she's calling him out on lying to her, she kind of was looking at him like she was trying to peer into his soul, and I feel like she was sort of using the Force there. And he's like, she says, "Ever since you met me, you've been hiding something." It's like she has this very heightened perceptiveness.
I think that's just part of what she has. I don't think she knows that though, because in Return of the Jedi, Luke says, "My sister has it." And she's like, no, I don't. I could never do what you do. You know what I mean? I don't think she has any idea that she is Force sensitive.
Well,
oh man, there was a certain line, and I don't think it was the line that John was talking about.
Was it on the truck, or in the freighter, or in the episode 1 or 2 even? Or was it this episode?
No, it was this episode. I just don't remember. I'd have to watch it again, but I felt like there was like one specific line to where she said something, like maybe she was afraid of something. I think that's what it was. Like some kind of a fear triggered, line of dialogue from her. And then I was like,
interesting.
Sounds like something somebody who's aware of what they are would say.
It was interesting that she blamed herself for all of that, because she was the one that got them to go talk to the guy on the transport.
Yep.
And she's like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to make this happen. And he's like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault, when it 100% was their fault. He's there like, no, don't talk to them. We'll walk. It's not safe. It's not safe. Don't trust them. She's like, it's fine. And then 5 minutes later, they're fighting for their lives.
Oh, look, that's an Imperial sign. You can actually leave without us.
So Kayla B asked, after hearing everyone's points, good and bad, do any of us feel that our rating for the episode has changed? After some of those plot holes, I would maybe lower mine down a little bit below 90, just because it's kind of poor writing. But my personal feeling toward the episode is overwhelmingly positive, just because I very much enjoyed. As I watched, I very much enjoyed it, which is the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
Sure, there may be some plot holes. I'll admit that, but I would still say, to me, it's very highly ranked. Maybe I give it 88 or 89. You guys, you still feel about the same?
I'm feeling the 91 still.
Yeah.
I might go low 70s. I was like mid 70s, probably low 70s now.
Okay.
Where are we at?
So we're about, he just meets the Imperial defector who saves them. Which I feel she was a pretty interesting character.
Yeah.
It's cool to see a defector in the Empire. I felt she did a really good job of kind of giving her rationale. Like, when the Empire first came about, Palpatine was met with roaring applause, as Padme says. The Empire welcomed him in. This was all Palpatine and Plagueis's plan, is to get the galaxy in a state where they wanted order. They didn't want this war and chaos and everything. They got them to this point so that they were literally welcomed in with thunderous applause. And people probably were jumping to join the Empire. They're like, this is great. Everyone's together. We're not fighting. We all rule under one house. And eventually she realized what the Empire stood for, but at that point it was too late. So she's doing what she can. Really good motivation for a character. I thought it was done really, really well. I thought that she seemed like someone you could trust really early on, and it was cool to see.
Agree.
Yeah, and I feel like her story, and then like certain issues we have with the show, when I think about it in like the broad sense, I feel like the broad storytelling is good, and then I feel like the individual, like minute stuff, kind of gets left on the way.
No, I think that makes sense. So what you would say is, when they sat down and wrote the whole story, they came up with a really interesting story. But then when they broke it down into episodes, some of the minor details kind of got pushed aside.
Yeah,
and just executed poorly.
Yeah.
Also, it's yeah.
And a lot of that is in directing more so than writing, I feel like, because when you write something like that, usually the way the writers would put it is, as Leia runs through tunnel, Reva meets her on the other side, right? Yeah. And a director's given a lot of leeway with how he wants to cut that scene. And if you cut it in a way that she's sitting there and Leia's almost at the end, and all of a sudden Reva teleports to the end of it, the tunnel, that's on the director more than anything.
Yeah.
So
because much of that could have been easily like explained.
Mm-hmm.
And
small things. And though the interesting thing about this is, a lot of this is very new for a lot of these people. Most of these people haven't worked with Star Wars before, and I feel like they don't sometimes understand.
And we'll never work with Star Wars again.
How the Star Wars fans, how closely we look at everything, and how into it we are. I mean, it's sad to some extent, because I feel like sometimes it limits the talent that they get for these shows and movies, because they know how much we're going to scrutinize everything. But I just feel like it should make you raise the bar that much higher, So,
yeah.
So
in the
next we get something I'm very interested about. Oh, we haven't touched the Inquisitors at all.
No, we haven't.
Nope.
Let's discuss that.
Oh, yeah.
So, really cool.
Grand Inquisitor's dead.
No, he's not. I don't think
so. I think they really screwed themselves. Like, they have a point that they have to end up at.
But it's weird when they talk about him again. Yeah.
Well, it's like they made a decision that's super high risk, like really hard to pull off, and that doesn't really have a payout.
Like him coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the big reveal where he comes back and does something or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like that important of a character, so I don't understand why you would choose to like have him stabbed and all of this. Like, I guess it makes it to where Reva's more at the front, but she's like, but then you create this other issue for yourself that's just kind of in the background, and I don't know. Like, I think they can still pull it out. This episode made me less optimistic about how they've been handling it. I thought it was fine.
That makes sense.
So, I don't know.
So we talked about it. I think that the action Riva took makes sense for her character.
Yeah.
Like that makes total sense to me. But it is just weird that they would choose to pretend that this guy's dead when the vast majority, maybe not the vast majority, a large percentage of your viewers have watched Rebels and know that years from now the Grand Inquisitor is there. Now, if they go and say that the Grand Inquisitor is actually just another Utapau guy, or what do they call them? Powins?
Powins.
Yeah. A Powin. That would be really odd. And if they say he's actually dead and they just retconned Rebels, that would be really, really stupid. Because you know that and Ahsoka appears to be a sequel to Rebels. So it's like you're retconning your own origin story. It just doesn't really make any sense. Yeah. So I don't think that's the case. Now, one thing we know is Pauians have two stomachs. So if he's stabbed through one stomach, he can potentially live through that, especially with the aid of Bacta. But it just is odd that they're pretending he's dead.
Yeah, it's a weird story. Like Carl said, it has little to no payoff. Weird shock moment.
Weird execution.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where maybe the thought process of the story beat may have been cool, but the execution was just weird.
Yeah, I would have liked it better if she didn't fight him, because we saw what's the dude's name? Fifth brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fifth brother, he's like, cool. You came in instant force choke. I'm gonna hold you here, and I can hold you as long as I want. And you're like, okay, this dude's way stronger than her. So the Grand Inquisitor should be stronger than him, and this guy should have some kind of a clue. I would have preferred she shoot, TIE fighter, something. Shoot some kind of heavy artillery at the dude, and then it knocks him into something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot more believable, and it would have.
Well, and they even kind of play with it a little bit at the beginning of the scene when she's talking to Vader. She's like, Obi-Wan will pay for the something
Grand Inquisitor,
and then
none
Vader
of
cuts
that
him
matters
off.
now, or something like that.
So they want you to think that she's about to say for killing the Grand Inquisitor. You know what I mean? Yep. That's what they want you to think. Yep. But in all reality, it's probably just sitting a tank of Bacta. Someone says, Kayla says, do you think it's an issue that you don't trust a person is really dead or not in the show? For instance, if he is dead, do you feel his death was less impactful? I feel like if he actually is dead, it just ruins what you've done in Rebels. But as far as the question goes, does it affect if I can trust someone's dead or not?
Darth Maul.
It depends. It really depends.
It does.
Yeah.
Because you know what an unreliable narrator is?
Vaguely.
It's a type of storytelling where they do it in books a lot, where you're reading a book, but as you're reading it, you don't know that the person that is telling you isn't telling you the truth. So for instance, someone might be insane who's the storytelling you're in, or half of the time they're talking, it's a dream, and the other half it's real, and you don't know which is which. So
Shutter Island.
Things like Shutter Island is a perfect example. He could be a reliable narrator if we thought he was until maybe the very end.
Spoilers, man. I haven't seen that movie.
But for instance, in Shutter Island, Leonardo DiCaprio plays a guy. Okay, as if you're going to see it. He plays a guy who's a detective going into a psych ward or something like that.
Yeah.
And he finds out that the prisoners are being treated very unfairly. He tries to run an investigation to figure out what is going on. And as he's uncovering everything, he keeps finding they're covering things up. As the movie comes to an end, they have convinced him that he is a patient there and that all of this is drummed up in his head.
Yep.
You good, John? So you don't know whether or not that's a reliable narrator or not. And I feel like the Star Wars is turning themselves into a reliable narrator, because every time we get to a scene, we're like, okay, why did that happen? Or did this actually happen, or did it not actually happen? So I kind of understand what you're saying is it really kind of warps your opinion of the people that are presenting the story to you, because you don't know what you're actually seeing.
There's just not any point to it.
I think it can work.
Me too.
You have to build suspense with misdirection and stuff. In this specific case, it doesn't work because we already know the end. If you've seen a lot of Star Wars stuff, you do. But the other thing is that when you like aren't sure if a character's actually dead or not, like it has to be done in a way where you don't roll your eyes when they come back on screen.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
if they just like, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but I've heard in Gotham, like people get shot in the heart and they somehow
Oh my gosh,
Dude,
come
it's
back
so
alive.
stupid.
The penguin
So
died so
stuff
many
like-
times.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's the big dude's name?
Butch.
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 I mean, he turned.
Literally dead, floating in the ocean for weeks, and then his body floats into a green sewer, and he comes back alive as the Hulk. It's the
No,
most stupid
it's
thing.
the Sol. That makes perfect sense because he's
Grundy.
Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, I know, but
With the
still,
Lazarus pit, but yeah, it's still not as bad as Penguin. Every single time
So-
Penguin got shot.
And to do that with the Grand Inquisitor, which is a subplot of a subplot within the Kenobi show, because we really don't care
Yeah.
about him anyways, is just, and not to mention we know
Yeah.
he's not dead. It's just a weird thing to do.
Train
It's
wreck.
weird. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
moving past that. I actually have a theory about how he comes back. I'm interested to see how it goes, but we'll talk about that when we get to theories. We got to move a little quicker here. So I guess we can get to this next part. They get into the Jedi hideout.
Yeah.
And it was really, really cool to see they have this like underground train. What do they call it? Underground railroad. Yeah, underground
the
railroad.
pathway.
They call the path for the Jedi to escape. So like a bunch of Jedi have come through here. I think a big part here is where Joe, I don't know why I'm calling him Joe, where Ben realizes that he's not like totally alone.
Yeah.
There are Jedi out there that are alive and living a normal life on this planet, right? I think that's a really, really cool moment that I really look forward to seeing hopefully some more of. And then also seeing that Quinlan Voss is alive. So like in Legends, we knew that he escaped Order 66, but I pray we get to see him in this show. If not this show, another. But I think it makes so much sense to see him in the show, does it not? She says he's helping people. I think next episode is a great opportunity for him to help him get off planet. Because John and I were talking about this previously.
Help him fake his death.
It does not make sense for Kenobi to get off planet right now, even with that girl. Like the pilot's been killed. That girl.
It
they probably
confirms
know
all.
she's a
It
Jedi
confirms
right now.
all of our fears of the fire scene. If he gets
Huh?
off, it confirms all of our fears with the fire scene. If he gets off planet,
Yeah, which we haven't really talked about the fire scene too much yet, but we'll get to it. But it just wouldn't make sense if Vader would just let him leave planet, like, and the Empire can't get his grips around him, you know. But if Quinlan is there, who's been smuggling people around planet, he is the perfect Jedi to avoid detection, the perfect Jedi to be able to weasel ways around some things, especially if he knows the planet, to get off
with a pre-Empire ship.
Yeah, anything like that where Quinlan or where Obi-Wan escapes, I feel like has to have some good reasonable explanation. And Quinlan Voss is like the Native American Jedi that would be totally able to do this kind of stuff.
Well, and you guys know how he's more special than most other Jedi.
Doesn't he have the same powers Cal Kestis, where he can
telekinetic?
He can touch things and see the memories of them.
Yeah,
like Cal
so
Kestis
he's more
does.
connected to the future than most Jedi are.
Yep. And the past.
Which also can get him there.
Yep. So I'm really interested to see how that goes. Now, here's a theory John and I discussed a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Something, as soon as I saw that first loading droid when Obi-Wan and
in the
Leia,
little hut. Yep.
No, not in the hut. When they first got off the ship.
So there's there's several
a bunch
of them.
Those droids. Yeah. Yep, there's a bunch of them, and I feel like Disney intentionally showed these droids kind of all over this planet, and it's definitely part of the planet's culture is a mining culture. So you might just see them. I could be reading into this. I'm not going to say I'm not, but you definitely are seeing them. It's supposed to just think that these droids are just part of this culture. Okay. So they sneak past that one droid as soon as they get on a planet. Then we get to the Jedi hideout. And I'm sorry. I apologize. I first saw that droid and I thought really.
You're gonna have to repeat that.
Hold on.
Were you saying they were acting very robotic and very like?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no, I just mean droid looked very big and like bulky. Did it not? And it looked like an actor was inside the suit rather than like a CGI droid. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, in the hut or near the ship.
The loading droid. Any of them. I noticed this with the one inside near the ship. There's the same model.
Yeah.
Okay. It just looked like that to me. So then we get to the hut and we see the same model droid. And we see this droid look like it's thinking a lot. Okay. We see this droid grabbing a hammer, holding it behind its back,
gripping
the hammer tighter.
As the stormtroopers are about to make a
turning,
move.
And I mean, this does not seem like functions of a loading droid. You know what I mean?
Anger.
And then as they walk out, he relaxes and puts it back down.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, don't tell me that is normal behavior of a droid. Now, I know we have droids with personalities, but they said several times it's a loading droid. It can't understand.
Yeah, they're really trying to emphasize the fact that it's just a loading droid.
Dude, Quinlan Voss
he doesn't talk.
Quinlan Voss is hiding as a droid, so can be in plain sight. And nobody can know. I'm telling you, it's totally something Quinlan Voss.
I'm leaning more towards it being Rex or Wrecker.
No, I don't think they're doing clone. They've already mentioned Quinlan Voss being in that area and helping, and she would not necessarily want to give up that info just in case.
But why would Quinlan would like hug him? I don't think Quinlan after 10 years.
I don't think so.
I don't think he could hold back.
After 10
and be
years,
like,
he's gotten so good at hiding that he's not even going to tell his allies who he is, just in case his allies get captured someday, because he wants to help more people. I think it makes sense, dude.
It could make sense.
I need to go back
I think Rex makes more sense.
I know it's so weird that we're saying there's a person in this droid. So I want to go back and look at it again and see like if it has a really skinny waist where it's not possible or something.
Also,
but it looks weird.
She said that it can't talk. So if we're going along this line of thinking that it's someone we know or it is someone of importance, would we recognize Quinlan Voss's voice?
Obi-Wan would.
Would he though if he's not expecting it? I don't think so. It would be voice modulated.
If I heard Tom Brady's voice, I'd know it.
I think
it's been 10. You think of someone from 10 years ago. If you heard their voice,
I feel like
and you're not expecting. Think of, let's get biblical here. Think of Mary in the garden heard Jesus talking to her, and she didn't know it was him right away until she said his name. He said her name. Same thing.
No, not the same.
What in the world? What are we doing right now?
I don't know,
but think about in the perspective of the viewer. The average viewer is not going to know that, hear a voice and immediately think Quinlan Voss. A viewer would hear Tamora Morrison's voice and think that's Tamora Morrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's
a
clone. That's some clone.
It could be. I just think that there's someone in there.
Also,
I think
the final nail in the coffin,
and Voss makes no sense.
And I don't know if this is real or not, but in Theory's chat, someone I think made a super chat and said, "I worked on the costumes design for this robot, and there's someone very important inside there."
Oh, are you for real?
I don't know if that's
saying that. That's a big spoiler. I didn't want to hear that.
I didn't know if that's true, and it could. People can say whatever messages. People can say that they played Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's not necessarily true.
Yeah,
like people can say whatever they want to say.
Still, you guys say spoiler warning before you say stuff like that. Here, you're taking your phones off for spoiler warnings for Shutter Island, a 25-year-old movie.
Movie that I don't even know what year it came out in.
No, that's not spoiler because it could have been some random person.
I honestly hope it is. That'd be cool. All right, so now let's get into the potatoes of this episode.
All right.
As they're hiding, about to go through this tunnel, starts walking down the road. Whew. I felt this entrance was amazing.
Oh, you said
I haven't heard anyone complain. You don't like the entrance today?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I thought it was dumb.
Dude,
I think I'm gonna.
The guy is walking through this town, just snapping children's necks. Man, this is the darkest thing I've ever seen. Vader was so pure evil, and everyone was just cowering in fear as he's walking, dragging people, trying to draw out Kenobi.
The music should have been a little more Darth Vader themey.
Yeah,
I think
maybe Imperial March would have been cool, but I just thought it was awesome.
I think I thought it was too much. I thought it was so with Sith, they're dark, they're evil, but it's never seemingly without like a purpose. Him just like looking, I understand what was implied. I agree that was what they were going for, However, they did it. I think they tried to do it way too subtly. Like, I don't think it makes sense for Darth Vader to just randomly snatch a guy out of a window and just start cutting people up, like they're not even visible. Like, he's snatching them from behind walls, like not even calling out to Obi-Wan, no threats.
That's
like,
what it was missing. It was missing threats. If threats, because he's obviously trying to draw out Kenobi. He feels that he thinks Kenobi can see at him at least. He thinks if I kill some innocent civilians, Kenobi has to come out and defend them. But it was missing the threat. The verbal interaction was sorely missed. Nope, he did not say anything.
I couldn't disagree with you guys more. I think this was so much better than him having to say anything. He doesn't have to. And also, this does more than just draw out Kenobi. If you are trying to be this menace galaxy where you get what you want when you want, people fear you that much, you walk through a town and just as you're walking, wave your hands around, kill 8 people just as you're walking around. That village will do whatever you want for the rest of your life.
But it's the difference is it's
Legend
Kenobi.
of Vader will spread across the galaxy. And also on top of that, he knows Kenobi is wrong. And he knows this is intimidating.
Someone needs to fix C-3PO.
Chewie,
Chewie, fix his head's on backwards.
Actions speak louder than words. And in this case, seeing silent Vader, I thought this was the most intimidating way you could see it. I didn't need to see him yelling across.
Hallway scene was
because
way
the
better.
way Reva, the way we see Reva yelling for Kenobi, that turned me off. I thought that was just, I mean, I didn't hate it, but I felt that fit her character. Vader running around, Kenobi, Kenobi, Kenobi. That seems like
he doesn't have to be yelling. He can just be like.
It doesn't seem like Vader.
Kenobi, for every second you wait is another person I kill.
Yeah, I would have liked to hear that. Sure, that would have been fine. But I felt that
not
this
yelling,
was
but just telling him like these people's death are on your hands until you come out.
Guilt the crap out of him.
Yeah,
he knows how to guilt the Jedi.
100% do that.
Yeah, he would. It would be his character for sure. Definitely is a monologue kind of guy when he's fighting. It would have been his character. It probably would have made the scene better. But I still thought it was freaking great.
It was intense and had horror vibes and was. I liked the darkness of it.
I was just like,
"What the younglings?"
That kid was like 12.
I thought it was fine at first, but like as it kept going without him saying anything, I just thought it got kind of weird. So it was good, like in the beginning, but then he just didn't do anything and he kept killing people. Like, I guess Obi-Wan kind of knows what's going on, but like even as a viewer, it just seems weird. I don't know.
Interesting. It's so weird how you can interpret the scene in such different ways.
Yeah.
You know?
I wouldn't like kill the episode you could never. I just think it would be better the other way.
Oh, so much better.
You can't please everyone. It's just not possible because things that you guys like, there are things I don't like sometimes.
Okay.
So,
but I think the stuff we like, I don't think anyone would complain about it. Our suggestions. I don't think anyone would sit there and say, "Man, Vader, he talked too much and he was too taunting."
Yeah. No, I guess I'm not saying like I disagree with what you say, as in it might have been an improvement to the show, but I don't think it was bad because of that though. I still thought it was a cool scene.
That's fine. I don't think it was like terrible. I wouldn't dock the show any major points for it. I just like it was just something that struck me, and it being in the middle of all the other things I noticed just kind of like piled on a little bit.
Sure. Okay, so they start running, and Obi-Wan says, "You go on. I'll direct him away." Or what did he say?
I'll bait him. I'll bait him.
Something like that. And he tries to run out into like a more secluded area. Looks like he went to a mining area. Vader's there waiting for him. And it just seemed so much like Vader, how he could just, because same kind of thing with Luke. As Luke's running around in Empire Strikes Back and giving everything he has, Vader just keeps looking and he's right there, you know. And I loved the menace of Vader just one-handed toying with Master Obi-Wan Kenobi throughout this. Like, some people have said they felt Vader should have been more intense and savage trying to kill Obi-Wan. But to me, he is like, people thought he'd be so angry after, no, you said this too, John, after 10 years he would just be lashing out and out of control. But I feel he's 10 years saying how he wants this moment to go exactly. He wants him to feel so much pain, feel so much defeat, and to conquer the guy that defeated him. So to me, it makes perfect sense that he's just beating him down to a point where he just can no longer function and torture him. I thought it was absolutely incredible.
That makes sense.
I thought it looked really robotic, like in a bad way.
He's a robot.
No, but like I don't know. I didn't think it was choreographed well, honestly.
I think that was the point, though, CJ. I think that Kenobi was so hasn't trained in so long that.
But I thought it's like riding a bike.
Fighting style,
he can just use the Force to.
There's no. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said his reactions. What are they called? Reflexes were like heightened. That's not like a skill. It's just like who you are. But anyways, I think the way they wrote this was Kenobi is so out of practice. He's not even fighting with like a certain fighting style or anything.
No,
Vader's
he's just playing
literally
defense,
just wailing on him. Yeah, he's just playing defense. And Vader's like, I don't have to try here. I can just hit you and you're going to be getting exhausted. He just is literally beating him down.
They did do a good job of showing the strength of Vader. The one scene,
Kenobi was two-handed.
Did you catch though? Kenobi was right hand, strong hand up top, and he had to like put his other hand reverse to like pry it so he wouldn't get completely overpowered.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't think Vader's movements. I understand with like the Obi-Wan aspect of it, but I didn't think Vader's movements made him look strong. I don't know. I would have rather him, like, even if he is toying with him, I would have rather him look at least a little bit more like a fighter than like he just did like a downward chop the entire. I don't know, and I felt like the running was kind of weird.
I think part of that is because of how poor Obi-Wan was fighting. Vader didn't really have to
like choreograph his moves
have any sort of fighting because there was nothing to fight against.
It was literally just brute strength is all it was. I don't feel like Vader even was having to use the Force during this fight. It was just literally just wail on Obi-Wan because he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I understand that. I just think that like if he had used two hands and had looked like, I don't know, like I think he looked real stiff and like unnatural
like he was made
in
of
a
metal.
bad way. It looked like they got an actual robot out there and just like put him on a downward chop spiral and filmed the scene with it. Like he didn't look like he was human at all, and that's the issue that I had with it. Again, it's not something I would kill the episode for, but it was like it just looked weird to me.
And that is a challenging thing to do. Like you have to someone and say, all right, we got this cyborg. When he was a human, he's a super agile dude. But now when next time we see him fight, he's like, oh, you guys gotta let me know when.
It's funnier to laugh at you.
Goldenrod into the motivator.
Bypass the auxiliary power already, dude.
Later, he barely moves. So like he's got to be somewhere in between there. I was hoping he'd be a little closer to the Revenge of the Sith side, but
I think it would have been nice if we would have just seen him do like maybe towards the end before he force pushes him. One like crazy strong swing and just knock him flying.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I wish he would have looked more like closer to the Rogue One Vader. Like I don't know, I feel like that Vader moved better. I think as a person
we're going to see that.
That's the end of the show.
They should, but like I feel like adding just even a little bit of that here would have made it, because I didn't feel like Vader looked menacing. I felt like Obi-Wan just looked weak. And I feel like you have to have both to really make the scene go a farther way.
Yeah, I really don't want it to turn into making this fight look so bad that any fight that they have at the end looks better, but not objectively good. It's like, it's better than the first one, but we look at it and say, well, it's still not that good, but it's better. Yeah. So my... I wrote down Vader only says 5 things to Obi-Wan.
One of them was great when Obi-Wan says, "What have you become?" He says, "I am what you made me."
So he says
That was a
first,
great line.
he says to Obi-Wan, he says, "You can't hide."
Mm-hmm.
Then he says, "I am what you made me." Then when he taunts him once, he says, "The years have made you weak."
Mm-hmm.
I wanted more taunting. And then he says, "Now you will suffer," when he's holding him in the air. Then he ends with, "Your pain has just begun."
Those
So
are
I feel
the
like
lines in the whole thing.
those are five phrases.
For like
He
Obi-Wan.
says-
The whole episode.
In the whole,
No, he talks.
he talks to the
talks to-
Inquisitor, just to Obi-Wan.
To
Yeah.
Obi-Wan. That's the
Correct.
last Obi-Wan.
That's the only. Those are the only things he says to Obi-Wan.
I feel they are building. This was an intro to the conflict, and they're building up to the bigger conflict they're going to have later, where Obi-Wan's going to have been trained. He's going to be back in his full form, and they're going to really get it, and they're going to have a real emotional
I hope so.
conflict, because we know Hayden Christensen has talked about how Anakin / Darth Vader is in a point of identity crisis. You know what I mean? Where he's still stuck in the middle, and we have not seen that yet. So we know that some emotion is going to get a hold of Anakin here. We're going to see something happen just because of what Hayden Christensen said in interviews. We're going to see some kind of questioning.
I'm wondering if that's not just him talking about generally where Vader's at, as opposed to or as opposed to what we will see in the show.
But he was saying
We'll
that
see,
as
but-
he's talking about how he prepared for the character and everything, and I feel like that's going to come into play, at least in how he portrayed him. Because I mean, if you're portraying a guy that you wear a helmet the whole time, got something that you know what I mean? It says something like that. I mean, I could be wrong, I suppose.
So do we talk about the elephant in the room now?
I thought the fight. So no gets beat down and picked up, starts getting choked out, which was just incredible. I mean, he drops his lightsaber, and Vader is just, I mean, literally suffocating the guy to deth.
I don't think he's suffocating him. I think he's
Slashes-
just holding him.
Yeah,
No,
I agree.
For sure.
He's yelling.
He's grasping at his
Nah.
neck and everything, isn't he?
If you're being choked,
No.
you can't make any sound because oxygen isn't leaving your lungs.
And then they make the crunching of celery.
Yeah, I think he was just suspending him up in the air. But that's
Well,
semantics.
either way,
Semantics.
definitely like one was in pain though.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah.
He's
Ah,
exhausted,
I
so
know.
probably.
I'm gonna look at Vader's hands, and if they're like this, I'm gonna assume.
Here. Where's my...
But then he
Fair enough.
slapped. And is that like a jar of spice or something, or fuel that he opened?
whatever mineral it might be like
Yeah,
some sort of
or
coal,
mounting.
even
Okay,
some sort
Yeah.
of
but
food
lights it
source.
on fire with the lightsaber and just drags Kenobi through it, dude.
I thought that
Oh
was a
my
good scene.
God. That's hard to watch. I almost turned my head away.
Really?
I was just like, "Are you?" No, not really.
Oh, I was like,
I
it
was just
wasn't
like,
that bad.
this is just raw. I mean, absolutely savage. You're seeing, I mean, I was like, this is Disney. That was one of the best Star Wars scenes I've ever seen in my life. Just the emotion that was conveyed in that scene.
Better than
Of Vader, literally.
better than Revenge
I
of the
said
Sith.
one of the best. I said one of the best. Okay, that leaves a lot of play.
One of the 20 best.
But yeah, one of the best scenes.
30. Wait, what? One of the
Okay.
what best? Top what?
One of the top 20.
Okay, I can
Fair enough.
not
it
execute
was
Order
just
66 on you
incredible.
yet.
No. It was just incredible. Just the pain that Kenobi's going through. Like, I've been saying this to Rachel's been watching it. Just if you think about this show from Kenobi's perspective the whole time, just what he's going through in every moment, it's just incredible. I mean, this kid that he raised to become practically his son and mother, is now torturing him, that he thought he killed, is now alive, torturing him, dragging him through burning coals. It's just an incredible piece of work. Which I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But then the girl comes and shoots the stormtrooper.
He puts the fire. Vader puts the fire
Stormtrooper.
out.
Yes, he puts it out himself.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's note that Vader puts the fire out himself after he just played with his food in him. Okay, this is why I have some rationale for the upcoming scene. Okay, he knows he can put the fire out himself. Then, the girl shoots the stormtrooper, and then she shoots the thing and explodes. Huge fire. Droid / Quinlan Voss comes and picks up Obi-Wan, walks away, and Vader just watches it happen. Just watches. Okay. A lot of people have a lot of issue with this because they're like, that's so stupid. He would never get away. Vader could just walk in the fire. He could jump over the fire. He could walk around the fire. He could blow out the fire himself. He could pull Obi-Wan to him, to which I say I 100% agree.
I wish he would have walked through the fire. Could you imagine seeing
some Batman stuff?
Vader just slow walking through the fire like
it'd be sick. But I 100% he could and he would if he wanted to. I truly believe that Vader at this point realizes Kenobi is so weak that he's getting no satisfaction out of this, and that he wants Kenobi's pain to be so intense and so long and so awful that he's going to let him escape so that he can get him again and torture him more thoroughly.
Torture everybody around him.
Everyone around him. Find Leia, torture her. Find Leia's family, torture him.
No.
He wants to make his vengeance so exacted and so awful and so prolonged that he lets him go. And or maybe there's another reason that we don't know. Maybe he wants to reach and find more rebels. Maybe he wants to trace anyone connected to Kenobi. Who knows what the exact reason is? But for people that are mad that Kenobi or that Vader couldn't get to Kenobi because of this fire, I'm just like, that is so ridiculous that it could not possibly be what the writers are saying.
I hope so.
Because he literally just put the fire out himself.
Yeah.
He literally just put the fire out himself. There's no way they're going to say he could put it out 1 second and he can't put out the next. If that is the case, that ends up being what happens, then I will be 100% on your guys' side and say that is ridiculous. But I never even entertained that thought for a second because it didn't even seem an option.
I didn't either.
It was just weird because he sat there and watched. Like he did nothing. Yeah,
because he didn't care. He absolutely could have got him if he wanted to. He didn't care.
Then why would he send a stormtrooper to grab him?
Like, yeah, he did.
I saw someone made a comment that I thought was good. They said through that point, he was accepting his defeat of Kenobi. But when someone came to rescue him or whatever, he kind of stepped back for a second and was like, you know what? I'm not with him yet. You know what I mean? Like that made sense to me.
That doesn't make. I feel like he would want to torture him like in person. I feel like that's more sick than to chase him across the galaxy.
There isn't the prototypical Sith either, though. Especially when it comes to Kenobi.
When has he ever let anybody get away?
Maul, if he wanted to.
Never, yeah, I guess. He hasn't really let anyone get away.
Like he just slaughtered a group of people like in a village. Like I don't know, he seems like he's kind of on a mission, but I don't think it was an act of mercy. Pause so that Obi-Wan can get away.
I don't know if it's so much like get away rather than lead him to something else.
But it's
Kenobi is my problem.
It's also like so easy. Like it's not even like remotely difficult to get him. That's not even it's not a pit of lava. It's not even a long sheet of fire. They could literally walk around it. It's like 20 feet long.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying there was there's no barrier to it. It has to be the decision of him to let him go.
It's almost as much effort though to let him go as it is to go get him. Like I don't understand. It just makes no sense. Like I don't think he would act that way. And I don't think that he would fly personally to that planet, toy with him for that long, and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna let you go and kill you later. Like that doesn't seem very vengeful. Like I think it would be more insidious to torture him.
I'm on board.
And try and turn him. Like I don't think it makes any sense. I think it was terrible. That was the final nail in the coffin.
I'm partially on board. I love how I'm not the one on the far end here.
Yeah, I did not expect it either at all.
I thought that was going to be
atrocious.
John sent me this comment by someone that he saw in a YouTube video. And I felt it summed up what I was trying to say really well. I'll read it. From a guy named Scott Martinez. As to a degree, I can see why Vader let Kenobi escape, and yes, he consciously let him leave. The scene was very much telegraphing this intent. Clearly, Vader was incredibly dissatisfied with Kenobi during their duel. After all these years, this is what his revenge is built up to. His old master is nothing but a shell of his former self. Any greater exertion during the fight, and Vader would have killed him or crippled him so bad that the fight would be over forever. It must have been such an underwhelming disappointment from his perspective. Vader did accept Kenobi's capture initially once the opportunity was present. But then the fire separates him and Kenobi again. He doesn't stop his rescue. So why would Vader allow this? I believe that seeing this droid rescue Kenobi likely made Vader realize that if he lets Kenobi go, Obi-Wan will now be aware more than ever of the threat that Vader is to him. And next time, Kenobi will need to be ready, and Vader wants him to be ready. Vader not only wants his victory against Kenobi to be satisfying and earned, he also wants his right to make Kenobi suffer endlessly to be truly earned. Capturing him now would rob him of his earned and satisfying revenge. So, to me, that feels like a good story point. It just like you feel that he's gotten to this point and he just wants to exact his revenge now, which I think is just a difference of opinion.
Well, the problem with that, though, is that if you're going to do that, I feel like you have to communicate that very well for it to actually hit. And because
with taunting would have made it so much.
If there was no
better.
fire and like it was just the blaster shot and the droid came and he like said let them go or something, that's one thing. But for him to like seem like he's dissuaded by like the most minute bit of effort makes it like and him watching them go away through the fire, it makes it seem like they got away, and like
because of the fire
does not communicate that at all. Like he also just stops when they shoot. Like everybody's afraid. Like he's afraid of a blaster shot. I don't know. That's a chance to capture rebels. I think if you're going to go that route, then you have to like really like nail that, like explicitly nail that down. That's almost even worse. Like I'm letting you get away because I know you can't do anything.
I think the direction they have gone. Go ahead.
I was saying, it's just like playing, Call of Duty against your little brother versus playing online against adults.
Yeah, the difference difficulty. I feel like
But what if your brother?
Definitely.
What if your little brother killed you? Tried to kill you 10 years ago, and you wanted to exact your revenge in Call of Duty.
What are you smoking?
Then he's not gonna get a point. Like no kills for him.
He obviously didn't learn. I'm still better.
Yeah.
So I think one thing the writers are doing, which doesn't seem as hitting with all fans, and I don't mind it, but most people probably are as well, is they definitely aren't laying gone.
You should be good now.
They're not explaining very well. They're leaving us guessing.
Yes.
They're not making it clear what their writing intentions are, and it leaves us guessing and having to explain.
Okay, I think that's intentional, and that's what they're
that.
trying to do.
I don't have a problem with that, but when you do that, if you're not going to explicitly say it, then you have to make the scene like it has to be kind of explicit somewhere, unless it's a mystery. And this is the kind of thing that shouldn't be a mystery. Like we should know that that's exactly what he's doing. We shouldn't have to like play a process of elimination game and have to be like, well, the only reason we know that he didn't get away, like because Darth Vader got outwitted, is because that would be so ridiculous. Because there's no way that could happen, right? It has to be like through all like super clear that like he had every ability to like grab him and that it was easy to and he didn't. And
that's super clear to me. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that never even crossed my mind. Vader couldn't walk through if he wanted to. You know what I mean? That he was so like me, I was just like, oh, Vader's letting him go. But I agree. It would have been better if they never even had the fire blocking him and he literally just let him walk away.
Yeah, just turn.
Yeah, it would be better. I agree.
I mean, that's one of the things
but,
that teach you when you're
to
making
me,
a video, is that you can't like just outright tell the audience every little thing, otherwise it's boring. But at the same time, you have to like lead them to where the water is and make it obvious enough to where, it's not.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just how you interpret it. Like if if I would have gotten there to where you were, where I was like, "Are you for real?" and say that the fire stopped him, I would have been just as pissed as you are. But my mind never even went there because I just automatically said, "Yeah, Vader's clearly letting him go."
So yeah, in a situation we find ourselves in, I think we would all agree, no matter which side of the fence we are on, Vader will not let Obi-Wan go within his power. I feel like he will not let Kenobi go. Can we all agree that he will not let Kenobi leave this planet without him knowing 100% where he is at all times? Would you all agree on that?
I would think he'll let him go if he knows where he's going. He let him leave planet if he knows where the ship is traveling to.
So, which is weird.
Get a tracker on the ship or something. I would think he would.
The last thing we hear the Inquisitors, and maybe they're unreliable, they say one of the sisters, not Reva, says they lost him. He had help. We're to sweep the planet, and then the brother says, "Now we'll never find him." So it's kind of weird that they've lost him because
because Vader let him go.
It's just another thing that appears that the fire caused them to lose Kenobi, even though what did the robot drag him like 50 feet,
20 feet,
and now they don't know where he is.
That is a really disheartening line.
It just kind of puts, like CJ said, another nail in the coffin of like they don't know where he is. Yeah, they've locked down every port, but they still don't know where he is, and it kind of makes me wonder.
That does make it seem like Vader didn't let him go with that one.
That was one of the things I thought of. I was like, how in the world they went up the hill 20 feet and they just stopped and had a conversation and, talked about life.
See, that's another thing pointing toward him letting him go. Because of course, if he was that close, then you would just like say, "Run up the hill," or bring in a ship or whatever. So like, to me, that just is another kind of a point toward him letting him go.
Yeah, but another thing though.
Sorry to cut you off because it's on the same point. I think where CJ and John have an issue, and I can understand it, is that so much of this we expect
have to fill in the
be
blanks.
fairly easy to explain, and they don't explain it. And a lot of times, rather than even not explaining it, they just like skip it all together, and they're like, "Well, this happened," even though it's not really believable at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man. And then I feel like if they cut off at better points in the episodes, this wouldn't be as big of an issue. For instance, if we back up,
if they stopped right after the fire and stop,
or so if they stopped, like the fire goes up and explodes, or they stop the episode when Kenobi's about to be burned. That's weird. There's really no good spot
because then you get more story to see what happens after. But we're left with Kenobi escaped, and then we have to think how did it happen, and we're left with doing that for a week rather than just moving right into the next story and moving on to the next thing. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, I think that covers the episode overall. You guys have you guys thought of any theories of what you see coming next?
Kenobi has to go to Dagobah.
You think so?
Oh,
it was brought up in Theory's chat, and I think he needs to go to Dagobah and really relearn. He needs to unlearn what you have learned.
Does he know where he is? I don't think he knows or know yet.
I feel like he needs to find out because
remember when Yoda goes, "Luke, go to the Dagobah system."
Obi-Wan says that in ESB, yes. So he has to know at some point, unless he knows through being a Force ghost. Yeah, that could be an explanation.
I would haunt him.
But yeah,
too long you do.
he needs some serious.
Obi-Wan is going to Dagobah and Revenge of the Sith.
No.
What'd you say?
He doesn't tell Obi-Wan he's going to Dagobah.
He doesn't really tell anyone.
No.
He just kind of leaves.
I mean, at least not.
He says, "Into exile I must go."
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about it all. The only reason why Obi-Wan even tells anyone is because he's like, "Yeah, I'll take the boy to his family," and they obviously know where that is. But
I imagine if they have contact, if he has contact with Bail, he's gonna have contact with Yoda somehow.
Potentially. Maybe. I mean,
okay. I have a couple things I'd like to share. I want to see what you guys think.
Okay.
Let me know if I
bandwidth is low.
have thumbs up or something. Okay. So one such being that Quinlan Voss had. John.
I'm being serious.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Anyways, do you want one of us to
Can you
start?
still not hear me?
You're cutting in and out.
One of you guys go.
Go, David, go.
Okay. Yeah, I think he finds Quinlan Voss, and Quinlan Voss being so good at finding the path helps him find his path again. And I think Leia does know that she's force sensitive, as I've mentioned before. I do kind of wonder if that one girl was force sensitive that helped Obi-Wan, because it was kind of weird that when the Inquisitor just showed up, like she automatically, that was when she made her turn. It seemed like they put those things so close together that it was kind of like an implied thing, but I could be overthinking that.
I think that would be too many convenient force sensitives.
Yeah, I agree.
It would be a
I
little.
hope so.
But Quinlan Voss, like we said, if Obi-Wan truly did escape, I would buy Quinlan Voss getting him off planet. It's going to take a big, strong third party to get Obi-Wan off planet without Vader knowing.
Yeah.
That's just
true.
full stop. If like some random freighter gets him off planet, nope.
9-year-old Han Solo. We'd be like 12 or 9.
No, he'd be
about
like
yeah,
14.
he'd be about
He'd
13,
like
14. Yeah.
I could do it.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
For now.
For now. All right. So one is being Quinlan Voss coming in, saving the day. I agree with that. Okay. The other one that I'm really interested in, which I think could definitely happen, at the end of the episode, Reva grabs Leia. Okay.
Yeah.
A couple points to hit at before this. Leia connects with people, and she understands people really well. Okay, she knows how they feel. They know their motivations. Okay,
Mhm.
It was clear in this episode, or was this episode? Yes, that it tells Leia that the Inquisitors were once Jedi who now hunt down their own kind.
Yeah.
So Reva kidnaps her, and we've already seen Reva be conflicted when she saw the Jedi stuff in that room. And who knows why? Maybe she was just frustrated at the Jedi and she hates them, or realized something. But to me, it looked like she was remembering her past, and in anger threw it aside and threw away those emotions she was having. Okay.
Yeah.
So my opinion is this: she is going to take Leia and try to leverage her to get Obi-Wan back, which probably will work. But she's going to be spending a lot of time with her, and with a girl that cute and that charming, you can't help but expect that Leia is going to try to talk to her about why she turned and why she gave up on who she was and all of that jazz. Somehow, it's a very Disney thing to do. Somehow, Reva is going to start questioning the path that she's chosen for her life. And she's going to start questioning what she's doing to this little girl and questioning why she's trying to kill Obi-Wan rather than help him. And I believe that Reva is going to end up turning. It's in time to try to help Obi-Wan, and for either the Grand Inquisitor to come back to life and kill her while she's trying to help, and then he regains favor with Vader, or for Vader to kill her. That's what I think makes sense, because we haven't seen Reva in anything up before this or after this, so I imagine she dies during this series. We know that Disney loves creating a hero that came out of a really bad spot. And I think that it'd be a really interesting story as well to see how Leia can have that big of an impact. And to see in Star Wars, we see people turn from the dark side all the time. Revan, Anakin, Luke in Legends, Luke's turns. The other sister, who else was I talking? Quinlan Voss himself. I mean, we see people turn to the dark side and turn back frequently. So I think it could be a really interesting plot line. It would have to be done right though. If you made it look cheesy, you made it look forced, and it was rushed, it would be really stupid. But if you can make it convincing, I think it could be a really interesting story.
And I
think it makes sense too.
They have to show us with
Yes.
whether it's a flashback or something. We have to clearly see, which unfortunately they haven't been doing a good job of. But if you just go, all right, Riva has a 30-minute conversation with Leia, and now she's a good guy. Like, I don't think that's not going to cut it.
It needs to be a process. It needs to be a process for sure, an emotional process.
I think that would be really tough, just with the way they've established her character so far, because she honestly seems more cruel than even the Inquisitors around her, and so I don't like. She seems darker, like less likely to change than they do, in my opinion.
But John and I.
Cut out. You're just looking at me really disappointedly.
Oh, it sounded like someone smacked him upside the head.
That was weird.
Should we take Goldenrod? Like,
am I back?
Computer?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. John and I kind of talked about this briefly, but she has no respect among the other Inquisitors. So, like, was it that just because she was a youngling when they found her, or was it this possibility? She's been found pretty recently. And she didn't have the force powers that all the other ones had when they were accepted into the fold, because she was just a youngling when she stopped using the force. So now, as the years have gone on, maybe she was only found 2-3 years ago when she was, 13, 14 years old, and just middling force powers that she hasn't really been using. But as she's progressed, she's just dove and so deeply into the dark side, trying to prove herself to somebody, to have purpose again.
Yeah.
And that's why she's gone so full in, because she feels that she has to prove herself. Maybe that could be something where she realizes she doesn't have to do this. Leia could point that out to her, and that she could be accepted among the good rather than the evil. But again, it would have to be done really well. And I'm not going to lie, I think you guys may be right. That's not something I necessarily trust this writing staff to do. So we'll see.
Yeah. And they really got it. They can't have her turn, and we're left trying to rationalize why she
put the pieces together.
Randomly decided to go to the good side.
I agree.
Thing with Luke turning to the dark side.
Mm-hmm. Well, like the struggle for Luke, the struggle for Luke turning to the dark side in Return of the Jedi was really strong. Like,
not that one.
I know. You're saying, like, George Lucas really leaned into. He was like considering it, that moment when he's under the stairs and he's got the blue on the one side, the red on the other. He's in the balance, and the fate of the galaxy laid there.
And those seeds, those seeds were planted since
they were sown
Empire
Strikes
Back. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it just takes time, and it can be hard to do in a 6-season show or 6-episode season. But I think that seems like where they might be heading. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what happened. I also wouldn't be surprised if Quinlan Vos rescues Obi-Wan, and as Obi-Wan's escaping, Vader kills Quinlan Vos.
That would be so sad.
It would be sad, but I think it would be fitting for Vader to kill a main character like that.
No.
Better be a good fight. And they better, like, I just want to see more of him.
Dude, Quinlan would, I think he'd give him a run for his money. Do you guys, how's his dueling? I don't know how well his dueling is. I imagine he's super strong in the Force.
He fought Count Dooku 1v1.
True.
And would have beat him if he would have given into the dark side.
And again, Legends.
Is that one Legends?
Yeah, it was written well before Disney purged.
What other theories? CJ, do you have any
That's
theories?
all I got.
No, not really.
Rex, I would also accept Rex.
I don't think we'll see Rex
being in the suit and taking him off planet. I would accept that one.
What year was Disney bought? 2014?
2012.
Okay, never mind. It was written by Disney.
What, Dark Disciple or?
Yeah, Dark Disciple was written in 2015.
Shoot.
We'll see then.
Good book.
David's taking that dib.
So overall, 3 episodes in, we can't really judge the show as a whole because we haven't seen the whole show yet. I'm slightly under what I was hoping for, and I was hoping for the moon. I think we all were hoping for this amazing masterpiece. I don't think we got a masterpiece, but what I so far would say I've gotten so far is a very, very enjoyable Star Wars experience with characters that I love. That's been really fun to watch, and I felt has been a pretty good story up to this point. With some plot holes and some poor writing at times. That's how I would characterize it so far.
I hope by the end of the show I will be compelled or feel compelled by the second half to rewatch the whole thing as one entire story, because I that's really
that could
taking
make a big
this
difference.
show down.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that we have to see it in separate chunks.
Episode 1.
Are you talking about Phantom Menace?
You
Jar
mean
Jar.
Phantom
That was
Menace?
a masterpiece. That's my favorite one.
I know it's your favorite. It's got some great things, but I think that's mostly nostalgia.
Oh, it is most certainly almost all nostalgia. And I admit that. But that's why it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Fair
It's
enough.
your favorite, but it's not the best.
Agreed. It's the second best.
Behind
Revenge?
Revenge of the Sith.
No, it's not the second. It's probably like the fourth or fifth best.
I go Revenge of the Sith. Empire Strikes Back.
ESB
A
and
New
Revenge of the
Hope.
Sith are kind of
Yep.
so close.
Sometimes I put A New Hope above Empire Strikes Back. I go back and forth between those two.
I can't.
Honestly, the OT trilogy, all three of them, I love them so much. They just swap with each other depending on the day. And then I go Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then Rogue One might be better than Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. Man,
It
Attack
is.
of the Clones also has some mad nostalgia, and the world is so cool.
The world building in Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace is by far the best part of the story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's just like, man, someone get George like
But
a,
so
a
much,
romance writer or something.
so
But dude,
much
they're
came
both
out of those. Two
They're both
episodes.
teenagers,
Yeah.
and they're just so awkward. Like, that's the point. They're so awkward.
If-
They've never.
I guess.
I mean, besides
The
Clovis.
romance isn't even the worst part of it. To me, it's just the slow periods in between interesting storytelling.
Hmm.
There's times when you watch, like if you watch Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones marathon, just those two movies, you'll find yourself here like this for about 40 minutes,
Oh, I totally disagree.
just waiting for them to move on to the next thing where they're not in the Senate building talking about.
Yeah, that's
Nothing.
fair.
I liked it. I rewatched those two recently. I thought
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones kind of drags, but I think
Yeah.
Phantom
drags
Menace
worse
was more
than Attack of the
interesting.
Clones.
Boba.
Phantom Menace is
No.
very interesting. It is.
So top,
Maybe
so
I've seen it
bottom
probably
heavy.
I've seen it probably 100 times, but like the first hour of that movie is so slow.
Phantom?
You get
Yeah, once you get
Yeah,
past
you
the
get-
droids and you get onto Naboo,
the only
basically.
interesting thing that happens in the first hour is
The pod race
the
scene is in the
30-second
first hour.
I was gonna say the pod race and the 30-second fights with the droids on Naboo. Outside of that, they're talking to Gungans, swimming around an ocean, and then
Liam
Charles
Neeson is
has
just
man
a.
shit.
You clearly
I
you just
like
don't
that.
like the voice of
Yeah.
Liam
His
Neeson.
acting is
I'm with John.
great. His acting is great, but I just feel
This-
that part of the story isn't that interesting.
This is a different
we can
episode.
talk about it as much as we want. No, that's fine, man. They can. If you
We're-
want to turn it off
What?
now, you can.
5 minutes.
This is called the Rogue Podcast After Show.
We're
just
going
gonna-
rogue, I think is what it is. We're going
We're
rogue.
going rogue. That's the new segment. That's what it's called. Going rogue.
I like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
feel like
think
Rogue One was done so well, though. I think it
Yeah.
passes up Attack of
The
the Clones,
only
in my
thing that
opinion.
was cringe
I
was how
agree.
much they said, "The Force is with me, and I'm one with the Force."
Yes.
Oh, I
Agreed.
love that. I
Agreed.
love that, dude.
agreed.
Oh, it's
I
great.
liked it, but man, it was cheesy.
I will say this,
Hey,
going back on topic, this one shot of the current episode is amazing.
I mean, I see white balance. That's
It's
you-
a
body
flame
at
shot.
best,
Yeah.
my friend.
Vader through
That
the
is a good shot.
flames. Yeah,
Looking through the
Yeah.
flames.
my white balance
the
is
shots
off,
of
but-
Vader getting his suit on were awesome too.
Yeah, that was really cool.
As he's just propelled there with no legs or no limbs.
And they take those like spikes out of his spine.
hmm
We need those.
Yeah, that was great. I like seeing him in his palace as well, sitting in his throne. That was cool.
His CG palace that didn't look very good.
Did it not? I could only see it on my phone.
No, yeah, it looked like he was in a Zoom meeting, and the background was.
Yeah, the background. I'm totally making my background for our next call is gonna be Vader's palace behind me.
That's smart.
I'm gonna get a green screen. We should all do some kind of Star Wars background for the
I-
next Zoom call. That's fair. I have. You know what I'm gonna be doing? I've decided when I build my next house or when I buy my next house.
Oh, I was gonna
which
say you're
is-
building.
We're,
Are you
we're
gonna
looking
build?
for a house right now. No, it's too expensive.
It is, yo.
I mean, but who knows? Someday I'll probably build a house, I think. But anyways, when I buy my next house, what I meant to say, I'm going to build a minifigure case out of Legos. I'm looking forward to that.
Out of Lego?
Out of Lego. I'm going to use like the glass pieces that are clear. And then
the glass pieces.
Yeah, it'll be a lot, but I'm going to use those. I'm not going to put windows over it. It'll be open in the front. But that's what I'm going to do.
How are you going to keep the dust
out? Vacuums.
What about UV rays?
Don't put it near a window.
I won't put it near a window. Yeah. See how I've got my windows blocked out right now?
Well, you're supposed to take the tunnel, and then somebody finds you at the end.
What?
Are you making it a reference to this episode?
I was.
I seriously worry about you sometimes. That was a rough one. Stay off the weed.
Well.
But yeah.
My last complaint is that they keep cutting away in between scenes.
Yeah,
and
they
it really
should have
takes
stayed,
me out.
especially during the fight. Yeah. Now I did think we were gonna get a Reva backflash there, or flashback. When
I agree.
She was looking at the Jedi symbol.
A lot of
cool.
people thought that, and I was looking at various
so
comments.
here's a
and
rumor
so
I
many
heard.
people.
Apparently
Not
there
spoilers.
was a. No, it's not spoiler.
I don't hear it, John.
Apparently there was a flashback scene of Order 66 where younglings were getting killed, and Disney removed it. So I wonder if there was going to be a flashback there of her running through the temple and escaping,
Bro.
and her seeing.
That would have been a great spot for it.
But they didn't get rid of the Darth Vader nep snack.
It was dark. The nep snack. Yeah. The kid could have been 18. We don't know.
Snapping necks. He had a
maybe the age of consent is 12 on that point.
I guess so. Disney age of death.
I don't think there's an age of consent to getting your neck snapped.
12.
That's the whole point.
Could I snap your neck, please?
Are you a Padawan?
It's not murder if you ask first.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I thought he had a pencil mustache.
No, it was a kid. He says,
That
"Dad."
was a kid.
Well, I have a dad.
I mean,
Yeah, they
are
wanna
you
kill
that
you on
small?
screen.
Everybody does.
And then his mom was like holding him after he died, dude.
It was
It was
sad.
definitely a kid. It was very sad. It was awful. Man, that was a great scene.
And I was like, oh, he's gonna leave like this kid, surely. Oh no. Kid,
No.
kid, snap.
JK lol.
Broccoli neck.
Instant, dude. Instant. It wasn't even like he choked him and raised him up and then like snapped his neck and put him down. He's like,
He's like, all right, I
Nuts.
spent too much time on this.
yeah. Oh man. See, just with all those moments throughout the show where I was just like, oh, maybe I just get too caught up in it.
Yeah, probably the same way.
I just didn't notice some of that stuff. Like I
What do
get
you guys
kind of the
watch
same
it
thing I
on?
told you about the Rise of Sky. I watched it on Disney Plus.
No, like you watched it on a big. You watched it. On
I watch it
Amazon.
on my TV
Ed,
right there.
you
John, what did you
rewatched
watch
it?
on?
I watched it
No,
on my
I
TV.
can't. I can't rewatch it because I still don't have internet.
Oh yeah.
I'm using a hotspot on my phone.
Wait, did he already
Yeah.
slit the kid's throat?
He has slit a throat.
CJ, what
Oh,
did
no,
you
I
watch
missed it.
on?
I watched it on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
See, I was the
That's-
opposite of Jake, where I did have I liked the Qui-Gon moment at the beginning. I thought that was good, but like all of the moments that I liked had something with them that just like threw me off. Like I thought the Leia conversation was good, but the location threw me off, and the location happened first.
What do you mean on the truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel
The
like that
fact
would
that
have been a
it's-
better talk while they were waiting for that lady to go do something in the building.
Sure.
Like having that conversation there, I would have liked it more. I thought it should have been there. It was just the location really threw me for a loop after them setting up stuff. So I don't know. I guess I was just
What's that make?
the opposite of you. There were good moments, which is why I didn't give it like a 0.
Jeez,
There was acting, so you know.
guys are so harsh.
I know, and that's why I think
I-
like so much of this, if they would have just had somebody that would have been sitting in the background, just been like, okay, how do we explain this? Oh, turn the engine volume up and have them whispering.
Well,
Oh,
and
how do we
usually you
explain
have editors for this kind of stuff. You know
The
what I mean?
editing, I think that's partially what it is the editors are not doing a very good job
You ever seen the
with the cutting and such.
documentary about how Star Wars was saved in the post?
Yeah, and that's largely from what
That
I've
was due-
heard.
Yeah, so like George Lucas apparently released an original Star Wars, and it got terrible reviews in
Well,
its
you know how
initial
we
showing.
did- You know how A New Hope rather than starting with Darth Vader, he was just gonna start right at Luke Skywalker. And you're gonna be like, all right, like, why do I care about this guy? And what's
So
the problem with this movie?
I have looked into that video, and there is another video that talks about how that video is largely propaganda and very one-sided.
Oh, really?
To kiss George Lucas. But it's basically saying, like, if you took every movie's raw
original,
it would every movie would stink. So
yeah,
their whole point is kind of like, well, duh, it was saved in the edit. That's how every movie is saved, and how every movie
that's what
becomes
I'm saying.
good.
So that's what I'm trying to get to. Is whoever they have going through watching these things and looking for these inconsistencies, looking for how things don't flow, like, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to get caught up in writing your story and you're going to miss stuff. That's just bound to happen. You know what I mean? You're going to miss that thing doesn't really make that much sense. But there should be someone on set who says, hey, that doesn't really make sense. We should readdress that and maybe reshoot that or edit something to make this make a little more sense, or cut the scene this way. So that seems like what the main issue is, because I don't think the plot itself is that bad. I think the plot's pretty good. I just think that we have these things that are just done so weirdly that someone should be stepping in and saying, hey, let's same message, same idea. Let's do it this way so it makes more sense to the viewer, you know?
Because even with the Vader stuff, you can add Vader saying whatever you want in post.
Absolutely. Very nice. Same thing with Mandalorian.
Yeah. Do you guys think a lot of this was because they had to do so much reshoots? Because
did they
didn't like the? I mean, it seemed
the script
like
was reworked a couple few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Well, it also seemed like, I mean, all the stuff we were hearing about Kathleen changing it because she wanted a story that was about hope. And it seemed like they had to reshoot stuff because of that.
I'm telling you right now, I remember that stuff being said. Yeah. You're absolutely right. That was said that the story was originally written. It was very dark, and she wanted Star Wars was a story about hope. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is far darker than I ever expected. I mean, maybe the back half is going to be about hope, but I haven't seen a lick of hope in this show.
I mean, I would say that Leia is just always there.
Yeah, Leia
is the hope that is there. You're right.
And maybe she wasn't in there before. Would we go that extreme?
No, absolutely. I would say that if Kathleen Kennedy said we need to bring someone in here to change this, let's bring little Leia in and have her be the fun hope that guides Obi-Wan through everything. I'd be like, Kathleen Kennedy, that's the best thing you've ever done for Star Wars. 100%.
Now leave before you ruin that.
If that's what happened, I will give her props, because that's a great decision.
And that could explain why scenes like the runaway scene are done so poorly, is because
they were
might have been shot last.
Maybe. I know that with Captain America and Winter Soldier, that was the kind of stuff that happened. Like, that show was very disjointed. Originally, that show had totally different villains. They weren't even going to use that hand or whatever. It was all going to be about this like chemical warfare kind of bombing that they were doing rather than super soldiers. And as you look throughout the show, you see like these boxes in the back that have like this chemical biohazard thing on it. And a lot of the scenes that were filmed were still used for the rework of the script. So there's some weird stuff that was done with that show to make it kind of disjointed. So
they're really Disney-fying things.
What, with Star Wars?
Just maybe with both.
Yeah.
Even
I felt that this hasn't been too Disney-fied. With Book of Boba Fett, after that happened, I thought this was going to be rough. Yeah, but I haven't had that feeling. This has felt very Star Wars to me.
This is definitely like 2 steps up from the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, 100%.
That's not that hard though.
Except the 2 Mando episodes. I would put those like top tier Star Wars for me.
Top tier Star Wars.
My very humble opinion.
There were
2 Mando episodes and then the finale, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
There was the one where he took Grogu.
There's the one where he started using the Darksaber and he fought the dude.
And then he goes and gets the N1 Naboo starfighter. Yeah. And then goes to get Grogu.
How did he get to Tatooine? Did he take a transport? Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep, he had to give up his weapons.
Yeah.
And we all thought something was going to happen.
So I would say the first of those 2 episodes was good, not great.
It was just, I liked it better than, I liked it better than the whole.
The contrast made him amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he walks into that meat shop
Yep. it
And then
No,
just
that's pretty
whips
cool.
out the
Minutes.
dark saber like.
Cuts
Yeah, that was
himself.
cool.
No, it was good, but it wasn't as good as like other episodes we've seen.
That's
still
fair.
thought it was good.
That's fair.
Sure.
I
I mean, half the time he spent building a ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the Naboo
And
Starfighter.
remember,
It's awesome.
yeah, it was cool. And,
then
the
the
fight he had
scene-
with the other Mando sucked. It wasn't. Definitely
mean,
wasn't perfect.
it wasn't.
Dude, that
It
fight
didn't
was.
That dude is a
wasn't all
tank. He's
amazing.
not gonna be all.
No, I just mean it was lame. Like the whole. I think the idea that the dark saber is super heavy and you can't like hold it is dumb.
So then you think Rebels
Yeah,
is
it's so
dumb?
weird.
Because that's what
So
Sabine
I
said
think-
in
I think
Rebels.
that- I know. I think that concept. Yeah, but Padme also says about Anakin's lightsaber, it's heavier than I expected. I get that, but it's not Excalibur. It's still a metal cylinder made of light and plasma. So it's like, to me, the idea that you can't carry it, you get tired when you're swinging it. Like, I just think that's a dumb idea. And even if Dave Filoni is the one that came up with it, I still think it's dumb.
Yeah.
I just think it's silly.
I don't mind. I think it's more. It's true with anything. If you're trying to use a knife and you're trying to cut something, if you're not doing it properly, you're gonna make work harder for yourself if you're not
But I can
doing
never,
it properly.
I can never make a fencing sword heavy. It's still going to be a light thing that I can swing as many times as I want without it being heavy.
The only
You
thing
know what
that
I
even
mean?
makes a
And a
little bit
lightsaber
sense-
is still a little hilt that's this big, maybe up 2 pounds, and then weightless energy.
The
But-
only thing that makes even a little bit of sense with that is it would be nice if they explain it away as like this crystal or whatever. Maybe the crystal. I think that would make the most sense.
Yeah,
Rejects the user if he's not, in control of the force or
I would agree with that and say that that's
something the
part of
Force-
it,
Not at peace with the Force.
or
like
not
Maul used
not
it,
letting
so,
the
like,
force flow through you.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And I think that's kind of what they were trying to hint at, but I think it wasn't executed very well.
Because we know crystals are essentially
They're
sentient.
somewhat
pick
sentient
their-
because they call out to their Jedi.
Yeah.
They definitely are somehow one with the Force.
So it's not fair to
It's
say
not,
it's
like,
just
unbelievable.
light.
I know it's not
I know you're-
unbelievable.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's terrible. I just think it's kind of silly that like the guy can't use this lightsaber because he doesn't know how. It's just like maybe
Or
he's
it's
not
heavy because he
proficient
doesn't know
with
how.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just
It's a
feel like that's
weird
kinda odd.
direction. Yeah.
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 Another like implied
Alright.
but didn't explain thing.
In other news, I got the Mando Lego set.
The N1.
Mhm.
No. Oh, the helmet.
Has the N1 released yet?
It just released today, actually. I bet you it's
Okay,
already
so-
sold out.
I'm gonna try to pick it up.
I
no, I
bet you
got
it's
the,
already sold out.
Dude, I got the Mando helmet and I think it looks pretty good.
But it's.
We
I
will-
really like how deep the cheeks are inlaid.
Oh yeah.
Like it's got
Mhm.
3 layers there to really make it look like it's got some depth to it. Because when you get, I'll be right back with the Boba Fett.
I know you can argue, and I'm glad you're getting the Boba Fett, but I know you can argue it's maybe a little more stylized, but the center black piece is way too thick, especially when you compare it to Boba Fett,
Oh,
because
100%.
Boba Fett's is
absolutely
thinner.
is.
Boba Fett's is thicker in real life, but it's thinner in the Lego set.
No, I agree with that. But like, so with Boba Fett's here, which I think still I like the Boba Fett one more because that just has more color to it and
Mhm.
more flash and splash, a little more details. But you see here the cheeks, and this is an older set than the other one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're just
There really
one
is.
layer here, and it's really just color is showing the cheek inlaid. But with the Mandalorian one, you really get to see the depth of how far back the cheeks go, which I think
Yeah.
is really cool.
The
And it
build.
also has the right shape as well, how it gets wider at the bottom, on the sides. I mean here,
Oh yeah.
it's got that shape to it, whereas the Boba Fett one more or less just goes straight down. You see. So I really like that. But I think they both still look really solid.
Man, it's a lot smaller too. The Mando.
They're
one.
the same size. It's just the way I'm holding it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They're
it's
all
definitely
the same
longer.
scale. But this one, I still love it. This just goes down too sexy.
The N1
Oh.
speeder is out, and
Oh, sick.
all the other ones are available for pre-order, like the BD1,
Nice.
which looks to
I'll be getting
almost
the
be
BD1
to
for
scale.
sure. one thing I do like about this one a lot is these battered. I think they call it battered drum steel.
Mhm.
This is a reflective gray that you see and highlights around it.
That the
Looks
whole
really
the
good. I
whole
wish-
helmet should have been.
Well, you can't. They don't have it for a lot of studs. They only have
Yeah.
it for flat pieces.
Lame.
So it would have been sick if it were.
Wow.
But
a whole
the
foot
way they did
tall.
it looks pretty solid, though. I think I'm gonna start getting into the droid sets.
Ones. Oh,
What do you mean?
Eh.
Oh, you're going to get into them?
I mean the BD one's cool. But
You're
it's
you're a
kinda
little late,
expensive.
Jake.
Yeah, really.
You're a little late. Do you have the BB one?
No, I don't have any of them, but you can
Oof.
still get them.
Dude, BB one is expensive.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
What's it like? Pushing 200 now?
Is it? Man.
I think they all look really cool, and it'd be a cool collection to add.
It is, yeah.
So I like the 20th anniversary sets.
BB-8,
I've got
not
all of them
BB-1.
except for snow. I've got them all except for the snow speeder. I just would like to have all of those, and then the helmets. I want to make sure I always get all the helmets. I think they look really cool. I've got them up on my mantle up there,
Nice.
Oh,
and I
nice.
think it's a really cool look. So I'd like to have all of those for sure.
New in
So I
box
think
is
I think having
150
all the
for
droids-
BB-8.
That's not that bad.
I got it for 90
They were
or
having to
80.
give that thing away for the long.
I know.
Do you have two
So-
by chance, David?
I never bought it because I never liked the set. 'cause
Oh,
I-
You have an
dude, it
extra
was
one, John?
even though I didn't like. Well, I guess at the time I didn't mind BB-8.
So Mitch came over and built his R2D2 at
Mhm.
my
you can
house,
see it.
and I was building. What was I working on? I think I was building the Millennium Falcon, or maybe my slave, maybe my slave one. I don't remember. But like a week later, the shelf we put it on broke, and it snapped in like a billion pieces.
He sent
And
a
even-
picture, I think. Oh my.
Some of his
goodness.
pieces
Oh, man.
broke. He had to order new pieces.
No.
That
I was
sucks.
like, what a rookie.
He could have got
Man.
him for free from that link.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, I think he did get him for free.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
You said order,
ordered-
so I wasn't
So
sure.
when I got the Bad Batch shuttle, I couldn't find my
Mhm.
stickers, and I was looking everywhere for them. So I asked for stickers, and
Found your stickers.
I eventually found them. So I have
In
an extra set
in
of
the
stickers.
booklet or something.
No, it was stuck to the inside of the box.
Oh, rookie.
All right, you guys got anything else?
Nah.
I don't think so. We've been going for an hour 57 minutes.
That's fine. Theory's reaction video last night was 40 minutes or 4
4
hours.
hours, yeah, including the reaction. But man,
Weren't
next
that
week
bad.
we
And
need
plus,
some
Nice
resolutions.
thing is you can pause it.
We need some
Who
resolutions.
do you want to see? We want to see wrap
At some point, we need to figure out what's happening to the Grand Inquisitor,
Yeah.
and we need to figure.
Eh,
We need to know what
I'm not
happens with
concerned with him
Kenobi. We
anymore.
need to.
What
Wait on.
happens with Kenobi?
And
That's what I need.
Riva. I think Riva is one of the bigger ones for it to like come together.
Oh yeah,
More
what'd you
about her
guys
for
think
sure.
about
And what happens
Reva?
with Leia?
What happens with that
We
droid?
we thought she'd with Quinlan Voss. We said that already. And
Rex?
Reva.
So, do you guys think Reva was better in this episode or same?
I thought she
I
was
didn't think
better.
she was. Yeah, her
Indifferent?
delivery was pretty. I don't know. Like I thought she was the same, but I never thought she was bad. So,
Okay.
like I thought she was still good.
Can you guys read that okay?
No, it's 480p.
Oh,
Oh,
my wife just sent me a text. It's a picture of a charcuterie board and a drawing of a little stick figure on the bed. It says romantic night with my husband before he leaves for 2 weeks. I probably should go.
Maybe
Come
so.
on, 1 minute and we'll hit 2 hours. What? So the Inquisitors, I think, are not being written very well
Mm,
in the show. Do
no,
you guys agree?
not great. And we said that we thought that was going to happen. To be fair, the Inquisitors are written pretty poorly, even in Rebels. Outside of the Grand Inquisitor, they're kind of buffoons.
Their existence is a little questionable. If I'm being honest.
In Fallen Order, they're great.
The one is good. The other one is awful. The big
Trilla.
girl, Trilla was
Trilla's good,
great.
but not-
Trilla was
Ninth
good,
Sister.
but the ninth sister was not great.
Yeah.
Are
She
you
was
are
barely
you
there,
fat
though.
shaming, dude?
Amber Alert, my favorite.
What?
Let the
Kid
people
got
know.
kidnapped, My
let, the,
favorite.
let the people know.
Jeez. Jeez, David.
Who
So,
should we be
yeah.
on the lookout for, David? Who should
I
we
don't
be on the
think
lookout
the.
for?
Oh yeah. Hey, everyone? Just public service announcement. What kind of car are you driving, David?
A Ford F-150.
It was a Ford F-150 silver.
Anything else?
How old is the child we're looking for?
How old?
50 years old. It's Grogu.
When 500 years old, you reach.
Oh, the other theory I forgot about.
900.
Who would be the perfect Jedi to go undetected and take younglings out of Coruscant during Order 66?
Sheev Palpatine.
Quinlan Voss.
Oh,
We know
took Grogu.
He said he's
That'll
helped,
be good. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
He said he's helped Padawans. It would make really good sense if Quinlan Voss helped Padawans escape during Order 66. Because, like we said, if you've watched Clone Wars, he is the sneaky one, and it would make sense that he'd be able to
I'd buy that.
hide, and he would already have plans of how to get out of the temple if it were attacked and be able to smuggle kids out. So I think that makes sense to me. It could be Reva and Grogu, for all I know. All right, could be.
Past 2
This
hours.
has been the Rogue Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching. If you haven't already and you've stuck around for 2 hours, please just take the time to click the like button, hit subscribe. It goes a long way. We're currently at 36 subscribers, which is not great. Not great. I'm pretty sure my 7 emails are 7. Okay. But we'd love to get up to 100 eventually. So if you are watching, please do click the like, hit subscribe. It'd go a long way. We would appreciate it. As always, may the force be with you. How many times are you going to salute, John?